This week in the security news, when in doubt, blame DNS. You'll almost always be correct. How to make Windows 11 great, or at least suck less. CSRF is the least of your worries. Shady exploits. Linux security table stakes, not steaks as in the steaks you eat, but shady exploits. The pill camera. Give AI access to your UART.
Sexy.
Security products that actually try to be secure. Firmware vulnerabilities, lots of them. Teams is spying on you. More details on PolarEdge VSCode Marketplace. Developers at risk. Cisco SNMP flaw is used to deploy malware. And the 90s called. They want their exploits back. All that and more on this episode of Paul's Security Weekly. This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where exploits run wild, packets aren't the only things getting sniffed, and the cocktails flow steady. It's Paul's Security Weekly. Ransomware, supply chain attacks, 0 days. Cyber threats don't wait, and neither should your defenses. With ThreatLocker, you're not just reacting to threats, you're stopping them before they start. ThreatLocker's zero-trust endpoint protection locks down your environment with pinpoint control over what's allowed to run and what's not. No guesswork, no blind spots, just proactive, built-for-now security that keeps your business moving. Want to see how a true default deny strategy works? Head over to securityweekly.com/ThreatLocker and take the first step towards shutting the door on threats before they even knock. Coming to you live from the Hacker Syndicate Studios, this is Paul's Security Weekly, episode number 897, being recorded on Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025. I'm, of course, Paul Asadorian. To my left, Mr. Larry Pesce.
Oh, I thought I was Paul Asadorian.
You were Larry. I thought I was Larry Pesce. Oh, no, wait. We did. I was like, my friend is doing the same thing that I'm doing for this process thing that we talked about, and I was like, I was trying to explain. I'm like, Larry and I have known each other for 25 years. We've done a podcast for 20 years together. Like, he lives in the same state as I do. So we're going to hold hands while we go through that same process together, which is nice.
And speaking of which, sorry. Turns out I already did step one of that process.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
It's just been a while, and I had to go find the email.
Well, good. Well, yep. We'll maybe report on that at a certain juncture.
Yes.
Mr. Josh Marpet is here with us. Josh, welcome.
Hey, it is fantastic to be here. I'm enjoying the heck out of it. Let's talk about some fun DNS problems, because it's always DNS.
I like how you have a green screen and you've just left that as your background.
I'm doing
it's very, I don't know what word to use for
minimalist.
I was just going to say minimalist.
Minimalist, yes.
Yeah. Yes. My setup
Mr.
is
Sam
fucked
Bound.
up. Close enough.
Sam Bound is here with us, not on a green screen. Sam, welcome.
Good evening. Glad to be here. Yeah, I have the white screen. Even more minimalist.
And last but certainly not least, Mr. Lee Neely is here with us. Lee,
so
welcome.
to celebrate the green screen moment, I'm wearing a green shirt.
Mm-hmm.
So, but and once again,
Which
I blame DNS.
But also almost matches your background, which is funny.
This time not as close as last time we did a podcast.
Right. Still very camouflage-esque.
Yes.
Is that a word? Camouflage-esque.
Yes.
It is now.
It is now.
Yes.
Quick announcement before we dive into it. Don't miss InfoSec World 2025, October 27th through the 29th at Disney's Coronado Springs Resort. Cybersecurity professionals, workshops before and after, and endless networking. Save 25% with the code ISW25-SW at securityweekly.com/ISW2025. If you missed any of that, want to go back to it, we put all these on a website that you can at scworld.com. You can go there. You can find all of our show notes with both the announcements, the sponsors, and all of the notes on all of the stories that we talk about and the ones we don't talk about. So it's a great read that you should do every single week. All righty. When in doubt, you blame DNS. I was explaining before the show, it was super annoying. Certain websites did not, I couldn't schedule a haircut for my kids. I had photos to share on Flickr. Because Flickr is actually super cheap for an unlimited plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, even if I just use it for a backup, I'm like, whatever. But I don't know. I think it's $100. Is it $100 a year or something?
It's pretty good.
Between $100 and $200 a year. and you get unlimited uploads. And I'm like, well, for a backup that I want to share my photos, beautiful. But it was down like all day Monday because DNS.
Yeah. Well, then explain why DNS, Paul. What was the cause? What DNS wasn't broken?
To be honest with you, I have not read into the technical details. I know US East 1 was the primary site that was down. And since so many people host on US East 1, I also saw someone explaining that even if you don't host in US East 1, the other regions, Amazon services kind of rely on US East 1 to get to the other regions. Is that true?
Yes.
So. Sam Shady.
Well,
yes.
actually, what it is the to steal a line from Red October, when when Amazon stuff doesn't know what to do, they phone home to US East 1.
Oh, okay.
That was their first reason, and unfortunately, there are still some dependencies on stuff when it breaks. So there were impacts in other regions too, but if you were only not in US East 1, you probably fared better.
Right.
But
also, that's US East 1 is actually a data center in Virginia.
Yes.
For those who just think that like the cloud is shrouded in mystery, it's really someone else's computer. And if you're in US East 1, right, it's a computer in Virginia. And I was just going to say, Josh, like I would love to see that. That facility must be pretty friggin' amazing. So you've been there.
As I understand it, a big part of it, there's several of them actually, US East 1, but a big part of it is the old Equinix data center, which is the old US Post Office in Virginia. And I got lost in that data center so badly, they had to send a search party for me. I'm not actually joking.
What?
I got lost.
Also, how are they letting you roam around an Amazon data center by yourself?
It wasn't an Amazon data center. It was an Equinix data center at the time. We had a cage. I was working in the cage. And I'm like, okay, I think the door is that way. I walked that way for literally 20 minutes, couldn't find the damn door. I called the front desk, like, read me the cage number next to you. I did. They're like, we'll be there in 5 seconds. They got there. I'm like, where's the bathroom?
Oh my God.
They ran me to the bathroom.
Just for context, when Josh is talking about a cage, it's not a facility that is like a prison or locks up animals.
I worked there too.
Testing. Yeah, it's in data centers. I remember doing this when I worked at Ocean. Right, it's called a co-location. So multiple companies all host their servers in the same facility that provides power and cooling and backup generators. So you're like, oh, I want to host my servers there. Like, that's great. We want to make sure you can only access your servers, not other people's servers. So we're going to put your servers in a cage next to another company's servers that are in a different cage. And then we're going to give you access only to your cage. So when Josh says he was working in a cage, that's what Josh was doing.
So
I was doing a little dancing, but not much, so anyway.
Yeah. I've been there, done that. That was big in the 90s during the .com boom. And you were also under not only to behave and be in your own cage, you were supposed to not disclose whatever other clients you saw in there. You were not allowed to disclose who was in that data center.
And
the funny part is it's coming back. As people realize that hosting in the cloud is expensive, they're going back to co-location centers, either where you host your own hardware or what I've heard, because I made a social media post about, the transition, like the bell curve. Everyone was hosting on premise. Cloud was all the new rage. Everyone goes, I want to host in the cloud, right? So now the bell curve is up here. And now it's coming down to where people are starting to pull back into either their own data centers or this is where some of the Mastodon stuff I think was being hosted. You're like, I want a server. Like, I don't have a server, but you have a server and I'll give you money and you just dedicate that server to me. I don't know, is there a specific name for that? Because it's not co-location. It's like rental server. Is there a better name for that?
I mean, managed hosting of some sort.
Managed hosting?
Managed hosting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
effectively,
and that's a great option because it's cheaper, right?
Yeah, it's like cloud. To be honest with you, you're kind of really
someone else's computer.
Infrastructure as a service, kind of. But
except you have your own dedicated hardware.
Now, Amazon will do that. By the way, you can buy a specific server from Amazon, bare metal, or operating system loaded or whatever. But it's not flipping cheap.
It's
because
not cheap.
Otherwise
other
they could
people
host
do it cheaper.
20 other people on that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now with the power and cooling stuff they want to do, physical space is at a premium, and the watts per square foot. I mean, I went through an exercise in the mid 2000s where we're looking at co-locating the data center versus remodeling an old facility and updating it, which turned out to be more cost effective because we were looking at level 3 or 4 data centers. Although the coolest one, was one in 123 Main in San Francisco. They had 6 generators on the roof, 2 of which were always running. And they had the best deal going because that makes a lot of noise, but they had the perfect white noise generator that masked their generator sound. It's known colloquially as the San Francisco Bay Bridge.
That's awesome.
Totally masked the noise from the generators.
That's great. But when you say different levels, just for context, because not everyone is old like us and has lived this.
Yes,
levels just mean like the level in terms of like power and internet and generator backup and cooling, right? All speaks to the like how much effort they put into the hosting facility determines your level.
And what kind of disasters it'll survive. In this case,
it
was the old tank factory in San Francisco, and actually the whole building was like on these huge ball bearings. It could take an earthquake. And the first row of concrete around the building, a sidewalk, which has the 2 panels, the inner panel close to the building, those would all tip and fall into a trench during an earthquake because the building would float.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And
that's insane.
And no, it weren't cheap.
Right. Oh, I bet not. Yeah.
It was cool. It was wicked cool. If you ever get a chance to tour a data center like this, say yes.
Yeah, security too. Security data centers has to be pretty tight, and the physical security around that, I think, also kind of speaks to the level, right? And in those co-location centers, though, those cages are not great for security, by the way, right? No. I've seen videos of people like Deviant, right, that are just like, oh, I can just basically stick my hand or a tool through the cage and just unlock it from the other side. Or a butter knife,
But don't forget the security, went through the man trap to get in there to the cages. You sign in and out, and there's all kinds of monitoring and all that kind of other crap. And in fact, I'm halfway surprised they didn't wonder why you were wandering around, Josh. But since you were supposed to be there, they probably thought you knew where you were going.
Right. And then I'm like, I don't know where the hell I am. And they were laughing. It was hilarious, except for the fact that I needed to go to the bathroom. So
Yeah, but it probably wasn't the first or the last.
Oh, and I was down in a data center in Richmond, Virginia, that was originally supposed to be a chip fab, but got turned into a co-location center. And their physical security was impressive. They could take a semi truck running at 60 miles an hour and stop it at the gate. And everything was bulletproof, and everything was like scary impressive.
You're almost making me miss having to visit a data center and work in it because it's been so long. But then I think about how, just for our audience that maybe is the newer generation where we've got all this small computing in cloud, and you don't really need a data center to do what you do, or have a need to visit a data center because everyone works remote. But back in the day when you had to visit them, it was very, very cold.
Yes. But the thing
very cold. And you had to get like suction cups to move the floor panels if you wanted to get access to under the floor. And then you would get cuts on your fingers because everything that had to do with the rack had a sharp edge on it.
Those cage nuts that would spin.
The computers, the cases, the racks, the screws, everything had sharp edges on it. And everything was heavy. And you had to hold the shit up while you were putting it in the rack. It was not.
But remember, there were advantages too. World's biggest white noise machine for sleeping under your desk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you could heat a pizza. Because remember, back in the day, the servers vented up the hot air.
Right.
So you could, does anybody know why 1U is actually one pizza box? Because we used them.
We actually used pizza boxes?
Oh, yeah, no. You stick a pizza box in between the servers and heat up your pizza. You didn't have to go to the break room.
Oh, my God. That's ridiculously funny.
So the actual...
You think I'm joking?
No.
I do think you're joking.
Legit.
I'm not.
The thing about it is that, we want our listeners is to understand that there are lots of options. And when they're talking about what we do better to avoid being stuck by another Amazon incident, and to include the I'm going to host it somewhere sexy. But you have to think about the uptime and cost of all of them. I'm sure somebody's out there is having a meeting to talk about how they're going to use a strategy of multiple cloud providers to avoid a single point of failure of Amazon. That's expensive.
Right. Data center build it, but now that you're saying that, Lee, not just security-wise, logistics-wise, owning and operating your own data center was its own ball of wax. Right?
Yeah,
it's its own thing. That was, I mean, it was fun and interesting in certain junctures. It was also a giant pain in the butt. If you did security right, I think I've told the story on the show before, but when I was at the university, we had a pen test, and I was like, hey, and it was part of it was a physical pen test, which in a university is, it's like healthcare, right? Like a hospital. It's kind of unfair because the public is supposed to be there. It's not like a corporation where you can really control, physical access. I was like, hey, like in this building where IT was, I'm like, in the basement is our data center. And I'm like, the person that runs the data center, her name was Donna. She was awesome. She was fantastic at her job for several reasons. One, she was the most observant person. It was the person you wanted at your data center, because if anyone was in there trying to pull shenanigans, like I even think even once she knew me, she would like want to deny me access to the data center. It was like zero trust before zero trust was a word. She was like, I don't know. She's like, what's your name again? I'm like, we've worked here for like a year. It's like, I don't know. It's like 1 o'clock. I don't think you're supposed to be in the data center at this time. I can't let you in. She was awesome at that. And the physical pen test team was like, yeah, we kind of probed around, and then this woman came out, and we just took one look, and like we kind of knew that she was looking for unauthorized, and we like hightailed it out of there. Like that was it. I was like, yep, that's our data center. And they're like, good for you. Like you passed that one, right?
Yeah, but there is something cool about visiting a data center. I mean, I'm thinking now about the HPC one where the raised floor space was 4 feet deep. The walls were the air conditioning plenum, so the walls had a gap of about 4 or 5 feet in them. And there were parts under the raised floor, the floor that was below, there were gaps down into the basement because of airflow. And now they've added liquid cooling to the air cooling because exascale
That's
needs
a big thing.
cooling.
Yeah, Lee, that they got 4 feet of floor underneath the raised floor. That's like 4 feet that you can fill up with water when a pipe breaks.
Yes, well,
ask me how I know this.
And that happened.
Got any waiters?
Too.
What did you do?
I didn't do it, but I had a data center that I was working in that had.
In this case, if the pipe breaks because of the venting to the basement, the water would go out through those vents. It wouldn't puddle up very high, but it would still be a really bad day.
Yes.
Well, you brought up the thought that some people might be thinking of going back to self-hosting because Amazon went down, and I would generally recommend against that. I mean, the odds that your technicians are able to have more uptime than Amazon are not high.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree, Sam. That's something you have to take into consideration. And I think most organizations, much like security, do a hybrid approach. They're like, I think we're really good at this. They do some study. Hopefully they study it and go, okay, no, we are good at this. So this is what we'll do in-house.
Yep.
We're not so great at that, or we don't want to put the resources into doing whatever that is. So we'll outsource that, whether it be to Amazon, an MSP, outsource security. And it ties into our network edge and security appliances. If you don't have the expertise to implement a VPN service yourself, you go to a provider, a vendor, and you're like, hey, I want to buy your appliance, and you're going to give me basically a computer that you've built and done all the work and the software and all that stuff. You're going to give me support. I'm going to drop that computer in my environment, and that's going to give me VPN. And we've talked about this I had conversations about this ever since I first started in information technology, since I was in college, about the kind of weighing the benefits from what do we build in-house and what do we outsource, and then how much of that do we outsource?
Right.
And here we are sitting here today where network edge devices are in a horrible place security-wise. And I think everyone's pondering, hopefully, the same question is, can I deliver this in the same manner in terms of uptime, reliability, and security? Can I do it at that level or better than the vendor I'm going to buy it from?
Yeah, the answer is probably no. In most cases.
In most cases. But again, there's a lot of factors there.
Yep.
But security-wise, in a lot of instances. Now, I mean, does that mean rather than buying a router, you're going to go build a router on Linux? I don't know. I don't know. We got a lot of decisions on the table because, when you start going into, well, I'm not going to buy the solution. I'm going to do it myself. And I'm not going to buy the software. I'm going to use open source. There's a cost to open source.
Yes,
right?
There is.
In terms of maintenance, and we've talked about that on the show before, right? Yep. In terms of maintenance, uptime, the support, the whole thing.
You pay in dollars,
and I'm not just saying
time.
Like I hate the thing where like, oh, support, I just want to call and blame someone. Like, no. To me, support is not just being able to file a ticket, but that there's a commercial entity that has developers and a project manager and a product manager that's managing features and implementing those and rolling up updates that I can apply. In open source, that is left up to me and the open source project that is implementing that software, which largely, for the most part, does not benefit from that commercial aspect of developing software. Which good, bad, or different. It's different process.
And depending on what open source software you're using, there's a different level of commitment for each one of those.
Yeah.
For when they're going to do patches, what type of patches they're going to do, what type of updates, what kind of features they're going to add.
Did you in open source your Linux kernel, which is thousands of people, in supported by corporations to fund those developers, or is your open source project one person who decided that they're no longer interested in that project, because that's never happened to any one of us. No. They're no longer interested in that project, and therefore they're not producing any updates to it. Or we call abandonware is the term I saw this week. Abandonware.
How many
abandon it?
You remember the old conversation? It used to be build versus buy, and sometimes people forget the support and integration part of the conversation.
Right, for sure.
We used to say, what, a single throat to choke? Or something like that.
But I hate it.
That's a terrible.
It is terribly, right? I think it's terrible.
But I still like having, in when I need a supported product, that I can actually reach and get to a human being, not just a chatbot. But I'm old.
Well, Paul, I want to hear about your story number 16. I was very excited to see this. Somebody finally making a secure product.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, hold on. Before we do that one, if we're talking finishing up with AWS, I had a very AWS related story in here. My number 3. The AWS crash causes the $2,000 smart beds to get overheat and get stuck upright. So when we talk about building versus buying, they created all of their infrastructure in AWS, and they didn't ever build in an offline mode. So because AWS East 1 was down, no one could use their apps to control their beds, and it was whatever the last state of this bed was, and no amount of resetting.
Last state is bad.
Yep.
Why?
So
not necessarily, but in this case, in a lot of other cases, defaulting to the last state could be bad.
Yep.
In case of a failure.
In one of the cases, the one of the customers complained that his bed was stuck in sitting upright mode.
Yeah.
So you can't sleep in it unless you sleep sitting up.
Sitting up, right.
Another one, there's a built-in heater, and apparently the people that use this have it set so that it heats up nice and warm in the morning.
Right.
And they couldn't turn it off. It was
because
in that hot
it goes
mode,
down, right.
And it was like 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
If that's an architectural decision, that's super bad.
Can I ask a question?
Super bad.
Who's liable?
That's a great question.
For your $2,000 smart bed potentially breaking, or burning your house down, or something. Who's liable? Because AWS, in their terms of service, it's I think 2 months or 1 year of fees or something like that, as the most of liability that they will do. And Lee, I know you're trying to say. I'm sorry.
That's cool. Keep going.
But the software manufacturer, almost by definition, is going to disavow any liability who's liable when your smart bed or your smart device or your smart whatever burns your friggin' house down?
Yeah,
it's a good question.
Josh, in my opinion, and sorry, Lee, I know you want to.
No, just keep going.
In my opinion, the software folks at the bed company in this case would be the ones liable because they did not have any fail safes, and they did not have any capability for running offline mode, so that you can change the bed without being reliant on the internet. Like, what happens if I'm at home and my bed is stuck in the up position, and
there has to be
I have power but no internet? I can't.
There has to be a local. It has to be a local mode.
There's no local control.
It is more effort in terms of support and architecture to enable that.
Yep.
And the fact that the hardware company didn't make that decision to go, what's the contingency plan? If the cloud goes away, it automatically listens on a local web server or Bluetooth or something or whatever to allow the user, even if it's basic functionality, to go go back to some default state, right? Or turn all temperature off and lay the bed flat. Is a button you can push.
Even a button on the side of the bed frame where the control board is.
Just
lay flat.
That's even cheaper. That's even cheaper.
Yep.
Yeah. 100%.
So now I got two thoughts. The first is when they said we're working 24/7 to develop an update to provide an offline mode. And I'm thinking, okay, after all that shenanigans, how many people are still willing to put that bed back online and get that update, and how long before the service is reliable to deliver the update?
Yeah, that was mine. Like, how great, you're going to give me a firmware, but how the hell are you going to get it to me? Yeah. And the other one, Lee, is they're going to have to put it back online if they ever want the bed to lie flat again.
Yeah. So
does your bed have a USB port? You can plug it in and put a firmware update on.
Well, that kind of comes to my second question. I can hear my wife asking this because it's something she learned in grad school. What's your low-tech backup?
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, I love technology, but if you don't have the reset button, the get it back to where, or some
thing on your bed that accepts quarters, and when you put quarters in, it vibrates.
And what is the use case? Why do we even have a smart bed at all? What is the point of it?
I think it's just a facility to allow you to control. Sam? Yeah, allow you to control your bed. Like, I've got one of the older Sleep Number, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah. Craftmatic 2 adjustable beds.
You can adjust the firmness of the mattress in addition to the position of the bed.
Yeah.
Some really crappy system. And I think since I haven't plugged it back in, I don't think it was Bluetooth. I had actual remotes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did.
That were, I don't know if the remotes were Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. It wasn't infrared because all the or RF, because the sensors were in electronics were all underneath the bed.
Yep.
And through those remotes, this was before anyone could have an app with Bluetooth kind of thing. The remotes would allow you to adjust those settings.
Yeah. I mean, Sam, I can see some of this, like why I would benefit from having an automated bed. Like, my wife sleeps in and on the weekend, and I wake up earlier, and I don't necessarily want to get out of bed. And I lay around in bed on my iPhone for a little bit. I mean, I could see changing my seating position so that I could sit up.
Changing temperature or seating position.
Temperature would be a good one. My wife is always cold. She could automatically turn on. Heck, I'm always cold when I go to bed first thing. Like, I could at 10 p.m. turn the heater on, warm up my side of the bed.
You could just call me. I'll come over and snuggle with you for a little while.
Oh, that was an option?
Yeah, it's in the settings in the menu.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wow. Snuggle settings.
Snuggle with me. It's a snuggle.
I think Elon Musk is making the AI solution for that too now.
Oh, no.
Oh, do I have a button where if I'm cold, Elon Musk will come snuggle with me?
No, he's got the AI sex bot.
Or not.
Oh, God.
Well, I don't want that. No, now you're going down a path I don't.
That,
I don't want.
Just a small upcharge.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, but you got to unlock developer mode first to get either one of those.
Can we talk? Sam, you wanted to pivot to one of my stories on.
Let's pivot off
Sophos Firewall story.
Sophos Firewall. My story number 16. The title was "We Need Secure Products as Much as We Need Secure Products," and Sophos did a great job analyzing the Pacific Rim breach. We covered that extensively in my day job at Eclipsium. they did amazing work, including deploying kernel level software to monitor what threat actors were doing, to collect telemetry, to learn what what attacks they were performing against Sophos devices, hardware and software, in order to provide better protections. Sophos now comes out a year or two later, after Pacific Rim, amidst all of this F5 and SonicWall getting breached and Cisco having major vulnerabilities that allowed attackers to compromise devices and deploy malware, along with Zixil was another one that happened recently, and Avanti, the list goes on. And all of that I just mentioned is in the past couple of weeks, let alone the past 2 to 3 years of this trend continuing. Sophos this week comes out with an article and is like, well, attackers are clearly going after this gear. And Sophos like, we make this gear too. And by the way, if you deploy our Sophos firewall devices, Sophos also makes an XDR sensor, which is XDR is like a marketing kind of term, anti-malware kind of software, I'll call it, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, you can take our Linux XDR software and put it on your Sophos firewall to monitor and protect from threats on your firewall. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is what we've been saying. Those of that have listened to this show and Calypso's Below the Surface, like, but this is what we've been talking about for some time now. And for Sophos to come out and say this, I think is awesome, first of all. But also, like, caveat here, as we've also discussed, I think even last week on the show, is that the antivirus, anti-malware, EDR, and those are 3 different things, software that's available for Linux isn't always as great as the Windows counterpart. Mm-hmm. Now, I have not tested Sophos' XDR for Linux. Could be great. It could suck really bad, or it could be somewhere in between. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I hate to say this, but like, let's put that aside for a moment and just talk about a vendor that's like, hey, we're going to help you monitor your firewall or network appliance like you would monitor and or defend any other system in your environment, whether that's Windows, whether that's Linux, whether that's Mac OS, whether it's an appliance, like, it should all be the same. That's where I agree with Sophos' approach. Now, again, it could be smoke and mirrors, and it could be the Sophos solution is complete crap. I don't think so. I will say, just my gut feeling based on what I've read and experienced over time is that Sophos actually does make a pretty good product for Linux. And the fact that they're allowing you to monitor your devices, your network edge appliances, the same way you would any other Linux or Windows system, is where we need to be in this industry. So there is an asterisk on the story, Sam, but yeah. I don't know. I don't know if anyone can attest to like how good, bad, or indifferent they call it the Sophos XDR Linux sensor.
Yeah, I don't know about this particular product, but I echo your sentiment. I've been waiting for years for somebody to put some kind of security on the edge devices, and I hope this starts a trend of everybody competing to put better and better security on their edge devices.
I hope this starts a trend so that we have a secure product that needs a secure product that is a secure product. Because where I'm going this with, I love this.
We need secure products to have secure products so that we have a secure product at the end of the day.
Right. Because the next thing that I'm going to see on this is, now we're going to see this as a trend that all of the edge devices are going to have XDR on it. And the next thing we're going to see exploits in these XDR.
The XDR, because we're increasing. Right. I agree with you 100%, Larry. You have hardware that runs firmware that runs software that represents an attack surface.
Yep.
To defend that attack surface, we're going to glom on some more software that increases your attack surface.
Yep. So it's like the compiler that compiler.
Compiles. I wasn't going to say it.
Did you watch that video?
Yes, it was fucking awesome.
Oh, okay. She's awesome, right?
It was fun. I subscribed to her channel.
What is her name?
Awesome.
Yeah, what is her channel? We need to find her channel. Someone take it as homework to find her channel so we can give her a plug on the show. because she makes amazing content, by the
So-
way. And it's hard. You know what though? Giving her further props, it's hard to find like really great content today, because anyone can generate content on the internet, and we need to give props to the people that generate really great content.
Yes, we do. So I
And
mean,
she
there
does.
were two things about the Sophos thing, and the first is a horrible cliche, but it's who watches the watcher, right?
Right.
I mean,
Yep.
we need that. That needs to be table stakes. And so bravo for Sophos for like going there. But I also thought there was a quote in the article, and I lost it, where they basically were saying, stop shaming the security product that comes clean on a vulnerability, but let's acknowledge that they're coming clean and fixing it and cleaning up their shit. I mean, hello, we're all human.
We all live in glass houses. I
Yes.
will agree with that, Lee. We do all live in glass houses. I work for a product vendor. Larry works for a product vendor.
Mhm.
We live in glass houses, right? We all have products that we need to protect and make sure that they do not have vulnerabilities or security exposures in any way. And to poo-poo others that do is those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
Exactly.
However, we're on a podcast, so I'm gonna throw stones because there are some that maybe deserve to have that highlighted, that it shouldn't be that easy to break the glass, right? I think that's where that analogy falls down, is perhaps when we talk about the glass house analogy, there are different thicknesses in the glass, right? And some people's glass is very, very, very thin. And I guess it all depends on how much attention we're paying and threat actors are paying to how thick that glass is, right?
Well, but I don't disagree with you. But I would caveat it saying, if somebody had a real shitstorm and they fixed the hell out of it, we got to acknowledge that too. I mean, they may have had a glass house with broken windows, but if they fixed it up and did a good job, hell, we can give them crap for not having it better to begin
I agree.
with. But
The only thing
but
you
I don't
can do
think
is-
people not
right.
many do the big fix.
The only
they're
thing
out
you
there
can
with
do
Band-Aids.
is fix it, right?
Right.
But I think what everyone in the vendor community has to realize is that as we move forward in time, more and more organizations are basing their purchasing decisions on security and the robustness of the security that we're getting. And if you fall way behind in the pack, you are going to lose market share to those that are doing a better job in security. And while all of them might be issuing patches, there's still significant differences in, if you will, allow the analogy, the thickness of the glass house that you live in.
So
Yeah.
And I hate to throw shade at any given vendor, because we have talked about several vendors that have
But
gone through the
you're pretty
rigmarole.
balanced, Paul. You don't just say you suck and you should die.
I
You know,
try
you
not.
say-
I try
No,
not
you
to
don't.
trash.
That's not you.
anyone. I try not to trash
Sorry,
any
Josh,
vendor, but I will.
You
nip.
suck
I
and
will
you should
nitpick.
die.
I don't go to those extremes, but I will nitpick. Right.
Yeah, okay.
And but I think, and this is where it's important for pundits such as ourselves to nitpick. Right. It's okay. You had a security incident, fine, but let's look at like your response. And the one nitpick that is on the top of my brain is with Cisco, and not because I don't want to pick on Cisco and poo-poo Cisco, but I do want to point out certain things that have transpired recently, and others on the Three Buddy problem have also talked about this as well. And I'm in this camp of, look, you're Cisco, you are market share wise for network edge devices number one. Cisco is one. Fortinet's probably a close second.
And if Cisco was
according to
only
my
a technology company, this could be fixed.
Yeah, like according to like my market research, Cisco's still number one. Now, they also have one of the best threat research teams in Talos out of any other company, even outside of network edge devices. Cisco Talos is some of the top researchers in the world. And so when things happen, such as the in issues with the ASA devices, the issues with the SNMP vulnerability, the level of detail that has come out doesn't match the market share and the talent that they have in security research. And that's where I'll knock Cisco and go, look, I get it. You guys have, like, in terms of network edge devices, the most lines of code to defend. I get it. I'll give you that one, right? You also have a top tier friggin' research team.
Yeah.
So when, like, you produce reports that just talk about the vulnerability and then rely on NCSC, which is the UK equivalent to CISA, producing detailed forensic incident response reports that you just left out of your publications, that's something I'm going to nitpick every single time.
Yes.
And Cisco, if you're listening, every single time I will nitpick on the fact that you knew, you had to have known, and if you didn't know, you could have gone to your top tier research team and known that you didn't just have this vulnerability. It wasn't just being exploited, but they were deploying malware. And you know what? We all could have benefited from your expertise on what was observed in the malware being deployed. And in this recent case of my other story on the Cisco SNMP vulnerability, I didn't see Cisco publishing guidance on, hey, there's a threat actor group exploiting the vulnerability we had in our software.
Mm-hmm.
And like, look, no shade on you. Everyone's got vulnerabilities.
Yep.
I've written code that has vulnerabilities. We all have, right?
Mm-hmm. And I will continue to.
I will continue to. That's not why I'm picking on you. You had a vulnerability, it was exploited. You had the means to give us great telemetry and information about what malware was being deployed as a result. Instead, I got to go read the Trend Micro report on that. And no shade on Trend Micro or the report is great, but like, it's your product. It's your customers. Why aren't you leading in publishing information about it? We would appreciate that. We would talk even more kindly about you if you did that. But instead, you're just like, oh, no, here's the vulnerability. And any information about IOCs or malware that's happening on the platform, like, that's not us. That's not cool.
So that's not unlike the Prosper data breach. Prosper is a alternate loan type company. Have I Been Pwned found the breach and the volume of all that, but Prosper isn't taking the data from them. They're still doing their own research, which is, they should have at least acknowledged that the other folks had done the research on it.
That's the thing. Cisco didn't even acknowledge the NCSC report that went into great detail about the ASA, what happened in the ASA breaches. Didn't even link to it, Lee.
Yeah,
I'm glad you said that, because that's my gripe.
And they don't have to love that somebody else found it. They can be mad as hell, but don't fail to acknowledge it.
You release a report, and it's like you're turning a blind eye to someone else who has useful information, not just to like average people or the internet, but to your customers, right?
Yeah.
Hey, we had this vulnerability. Hey, threat actors took advantage of it. Here's some information. Don't pay attention that NCSC produced the most fabulous report on the malware that was being deployed to ASA. They ignored that entirely. Whereas if they had even just included a link to it, your customers would benefit. Like, that makes me sad as a Cisco customer. That makes me sad.
Well, I think this is just an old tradition. Remember, Microsoft used to have a rule that no other company exists. No documentation will ever mention any other brand name.
Yes.
And I think Cisco has rules that date from that time,
You're right. You're right. The companies get so big, they live in their own ecosystem, Sam, and they don't want to acknowledge others that are providing great information. Sequoia is another one. Sequoia is not the investment company, but the cybersecurity company on Israel. Was that one?
Yep.
Your stories, Larry? Was it PolarEdge?
It was the defrosting the PolarEdge.
Can you talk about that while I pee? Because I really have to pee.
Yeah, and if somebody wants to help me out too. I did not spend a ton of time looking at this, but I know that Sequoia does some amazing work. What was that, Josh?
Did you say you needed help peeing? What?
No. Well, I mean, Paul needs help peeing because he's got the bladder the size of a thimble.
Yeah, it's true.
But the PolarEdge backdoor was fascinating. They tore it all apart, and the part that was really fascinating to me is that the anti-analysis techniques that they ended up figuring out. So there's a 1-byte XOR for the configuration. There are 2 rotation ciphers to obfuscate section names. Specifically that depending on the file, it used one of the 2. One of them was rotate letters by -1, special characters by +1. And another one was rotate letters by +5, special characters by -1. And uses the present block cipher from 2007 to decrypt these 2 small sections at runtime. To me, math is a black box, and figuring that stuff out, and to me, is an absolute mind-blowing activity. So I thought it was pretty fascinating. Oh, a third encryption algorithm uses and combines base 64 with an affine cipher over ASCII letters. Applies a per character affine cipher over the ASCII letters, preserving case, and leaves all non-alphabetic bytes unchanged.
How cool is that?
Directly concatenating user input into a system call without verification. Holy crap, that's bad.
Yep.
Holy crap.
I think I recognize the CVE in this Sequoia report that's talking about the PolarEdge.
Yeah.
Hey, this vision of a doctor from like a early 1900s movie. I recognize that virus. Sorry.
Oh, 2023-20118.
What?
Is a vulnerability in the web management interface of Cisco small business routers, which are essentially ARM-based Linux computers.
Yeah.
Improper validation of user input with HTTP.
Yeah. Which is not as always easy as it sounds based on my security research I'm doing, but that I can't disclose right now. What's interesting, though, is it goes back to why isn't Cisco producing more information about the malware that's leveraging a vulnerability in Cisco products to deploy malware.
Yep. We also uncovered related payloads from the same family targeting other devices, ASUS, QNAP, and Synology routers.
Oh, can we talk about? Sorry,
it's a diverse package.
No, I don't necessarily have more to.
Oh, I had a segue into QNAP. I believe it was QNAP. Where is my story?
Because this was in here. So which one is it?
It's Pwn to Own in Ireland.
Oh,
ooh.
Pwn to Own in Ireland just happened, and
gotta get Dragos back on here.
Where is that story? Hold on. No, here it is. My story number 11. Hackers exploit 34 0 days on the first day of Pwn to Own Ireland.
Good Lord.
I'm getting to
dude, you peaked early. Come on.
I'm getting there. The highlight of the day was Team DDoS.
It's a fucking highlight, all right.
Chaining 8 0-day flaws to the hack of a QNAP Cora-322 Ethernet wireless router via the WAN interface and gain access to a QNAP TS453E NAS device. For this successful attempt, they won $100,000 and now in the second place of the Masters of Pwn leaderboard with 8 points. 8. So what gets me about this one?
Count them 8.
Gets me about this one is you've got an IoT device, for lack of a better term, an IoT device, right? And it took 8 vulnerabilities and associated exploits to chain together to go. You can see the screenshot, like they're sitting at a root shell prompt. It took 8. This is like actually encouraging for me. Like I'm feeling good about security on the internet right now. The fact that we can take an IoT device from, QNAP has had the share of vulnerability, like whatever, but that it took 8 vulnerabilities. But think about even $100,000, you got 8 vulnerabilities. How long did it take you to enumerate and
exploit? That had to be a shit ton of
vulnerabilities?
Work. Come on. Yeah.
And it wasn't just one person. They said team DDoS.
I get it.
So like even if you're one person,
well, and no, it was a team, but it was Team DDoS and these 2 people from Team DDoS.
Okay, so it's 2
accomplished
people.
this. Yeah.
But again,
Still.
if you worked for a year to find 8 vulnerabilities and create 8 exploits for them, and you got paid $100,000 after a year's worth of work, I'm just throwing numbers and timeframes out there. You get $50,000 a piece. That's not enough to make a living.
That is a pretty high bar.
Right
although,
after you pay, I don't know. Do bug bounty is that income or is that capital gains? That's got to be income, right? Because you're working.
It's income.
Is it taxes income or does it depend on the country that you're in?
It's a good question.
Well, that's
In the U.S., if you've got an LLC and you're doing that work and you get paid a bug bounty, I wonder, is it income or is it? It's not capital gains.
It's probably income.
It's probably income.
Oh,
right?
in the U.S., that's capital. That's income. That's income to you. They hand you a check. It's an income to your LLC or your person.
It's taxed less than capital. We're still going to pay taxes on it, right?
But
so each person gets $50,000. You got to pay taxes on that, and depending on your accountant and how you set up your LLC,
you get 30.
Right. You get 30. Yeah. Roughly,
if they did it in Ireland and they spent more than a certain amount of time doing it in Ireland and they didn't have a work visa for that time, they're in deep trouble.
I don't know what the tax laws are.
They said they did it on day 1, so I'm pretty sure that's fine.
Someone tell me if you live in Ireland and you get a bug bounty for $100,000, what do you owe in taxes?
Yeah, so
I don't know the answer. I could probably prompt an AI LLM for that, but in any case.
So I got to drop in 7 minutes.
What do you want to cover in 7 minutes?
Well,
I'd like.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'd like to hear about Glassworm. Your story.
Okay, because it was either Glassworm or my number 2 on the sim farm.
Number 1, I already taken number 2.
Glassworm was the that ties. It's actually what I've got. 2 stories that go together. Glassworm was kind of embedded when I looked at the other story where it was the Visual Script Code Marketplace where secrets were being embedded, and that was being used to distribute Glassworm, which is a really cool self-replicating worm. And doggone it, which one is it? Now I'm looking at the.
No, you had Glassworm,
4.
the first self-propagating worm using invisible code.
Yeah,
hits the OpenVSX. So is that like, what is OpenVSX Marketplace? VS Code extensions.
That's
on a non-Microsoft, Visual Code Studio, but on a non-Microsoft sanctioned marketplace for plugins for VS Code.
Yeah, because that was because that was where they were.
OpenVSX is an Eclipse open source project in alternative to the Visual Studio Marketplace. Yeah, VS Code is. I don't want to comment your time, but
no, go.
Yeah. You're a developer. You gotta put VS Code. There's like a bunch of different forks for VS Code, and all those versions of VS Code support different marketplaces to get plugins and/or extensions that enable certain developer functionality. My whole thing on this, Lee, is as a developer that uses VS Code, or in particular VS Codium, which is an open source alternative, because I believe Microsoft open sourced VS Code. I want to say at some time, which is how we have VS Codium. But I think regardless of what software marketplace you're using, there's been shenanigans and hack against. It makes me as a developer really question my usage of VS Code.
Well, I loved what Glassworm was doing. I mean, it was using unprintable Unicode and a public blockchain for command and control, but it used Google Calendar as a backup command and control service. So yeah, you block the unknown, but you're not going to block Google Calendar, are you?
Right.
And it didn't just. Yeah, and by the way, it also leveraged npm, GitHub, Git, as well as OpenVSX, and it would basically embed itself into your repository so that it could propagate some more. It's the Koi folks did a really nice write-up on it. But I think they also are a solution provider. But whatever.
It speaks of supply chain security too, because
yes, it does.
Right, you as an attacker, you're not targeting the implementation of the code in the device and or software. You're targeting the developers that are making the software in hopes you're going to compromise the developer to get hopefully malicious code or access to a repository to insert malicious code to conduct a supply chain attack. And I think what's fueling that is, what was the big supply chain breach that was Move It, right? What I heard on one of my podcasts I listened to, that Move It, the supply chain breach that involved Move It was so successful that the threat actors had so many connections, like established connections from that maliciously, that they were overwhelmed. That it took them a year to like even make sense of all the shit that they popped with that attack. Based on the success of that attack, I think malicious actors are working towards supply chain breaches that are like, hey, if we can get just one developer, holy crap, if we can backdoor software, we can get thousands of companies and get a backdoor in those
supply chain. What?
Yeah,
exactly.
I got a book. There was also some malicious stuff. I mean, if it found a crypto wallet on your system, it would go and drain it. Just sort of a
finger
why not? In your eye. Yeah. I mean, why not?
Right?
But
yeah.
It's pretty. So I'm reading this article now, Lee, and it's some fascinating stuff. That the reason why it's called glassworm is because it's a worm that looks like glass because it's invisible to the human eye. Because the malicious code was stored in unprintable Unicode characters that don't render in the code editor. It's actually invisible to the human eye, but it is malicious code to the JavaScript interpreter. Also, it does its CNC on the Solana blockchain by looking for transactions with a specific wallet address. And then it reads the memo field of that wallet address of that transaction,
like a DNS text record attack.
So you just need to make transactions with that Solera wallet. Reads the transaction text, and it now knows where to get its new payloads and instructions from.
Lee, sorry, I didn't have to drop.
That's cool. It's cool. This is totally cool. This thing. I was looking at it going, this is freaking cool. Yes, it's a nightmare, but it is freaking cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it also raises a great heightened sense of awareness. Like it because I use VSCode to do various development projects, right? And as a security person, like my shit detector goes off. I'm like, wait, I install VSCode. I'm installing these plugins or extensions. I don't know what they do. These extensions are then going and downloading all this other code in terms of libraries to get added to my project. And I'm like, I'm running code in VS Code, which I don't trust. I'm running extensions on top of that software, which I don't trust. Those extensions are then downloading code libraries, which further I don't trust. Then I'm developing code and somehow integrating like my keys for GitHub and all the shit in that code. And I'm like, this is a disaster waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And both Lee and Sam had added stories about disasters that have happened because of this. Craziness.
Yep.
Thanks, Lee. Sam, what is your story number is for us? Wiz actually looked into supply chain risk with VS Code extension marketplaces.
Now the glassware, the thing amazing about glassware is it's the first time I've ever heard of a self-propagating extension. That I think it infects extensions by automatically stealing the API keys and infecting other supply chains. That's bloody awesome. But anyway, this is the old-fashioned one where people just found that there's a common mistake people make where they put the secret in a publicly accessible configuration file. So they found API tokens available for hundreds of packages, and people then started infecting them. So, it's it's another case of a common security
So people
flaw.
are infecting if I have an extension, one of the transparency, when I use VS Code, I install extensions and I try and find the best one and they can do Vim emulation. Because I can't little note about Paul, I can't code unless I have a VI interface. So when I go into something in VS Code, if it's not VI, I get law. If it's not VI enabled, I start entering like J, K characters to like move up and down, and it starts typing inside that. I'm like, oh, I need VI emulation. And so I go to the marketplace.
More importantly, you need VI emulation, not VI improved emulation.
Right. VI, Vim, whatever. It doesn't matter.
No. VI, no VM, VIM. You told me arrow keys are evil.
Arrow keys are evil. I don't use that. I don't use arrow keys. I can get by. There's a long story behind that.
Yep.
I'm not going to tell it again in the show, but there's a long story behind that. In any case, I need emulation that's either VI or Vim. And so I go to the marketplace and I install that. And what you're saying is that trust I have in that extension could compromise my entire development environment.
Yep.
Yes.
Because I installed VS Code and I needed like one extension to enable the editor features that I needed. And that can be backdoored. And it could then steal the secrets that I have in my projects and upload them. And to me, that's kind of scary. Like that's kind of...
Yes, it's just like any other
also
software.
because VS Code is so amazing. I do a lot of ESP32 development. Absolutely amazing. I've got this GitHub repository. I need Platform IO. I need Espressive IDF, ESP IDF, or Arduino. And I don't want to use the Arduino IDE. I can do that all in VS Code. I can integrate Docker. It's amazing development environment, but they're taking advantage of that in the trust model for this developer software.
So is there a way to run a security scan on your VS Code extensions?
I wish there was. That would be awesome.
We need that.
I can tell you, like, I get concerned that for various projects, I need libraries to do ESP32 development and then more libraries to do Python development, perhaps even in the same project. And it pulls down all those libraries. And I have no great way to kind of check to make sure those libraries have any kind of integrity or security scanning. So I don't know if there's an extension for VS Code that checks the other extensions, but this is all an opportunity for someone to develop really awesome software as part of a startup to go, what's the supply? Because I think I tried Gripe. I think I was messaging Josh Bressers, right? Like I tried Gripe and I'm like, Platform IO is a great example. I've talked about this in the show before. I can it pulls down a bunch of Python dependencies. It pulls down a bunch of C++ libraries for ESP32 development. I'm like, what is my facility to make sure that those libraries have integrity and aren't backdoored? The answers are not great. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but right now my understanding is answers are not great.
So what you're saying is that we need another security package to validate the code that we're pulling.
We need more software to make sure that the software that I'm using to develop more software is secure.
I'm not saying
Josh,
it. I'm just not fucking saying it at this point.
Yeah, but somebody needs to make a product that creates a secure development environment, and it would be worth paying money for that.
Maybe that exists. I mean, that sounds like it exists.
Atomic Core does something similar. They do very, very secure environments to build stuff in and to run stuff in. And I'm sure there's others. They're the ones I know off the top of my head. I know the Shin brothers.
So that sounds like you now I feel like we're doing a Nines call with Josh right now, which is awesome. It is.
But the problem is
a classic Ein's faculty member comment. And I mean that, but that is a compliment. That's a compliment.
I only had 2 of those calls today, okay?
What was the name of that company, today? Josh?
Atomic Core.
Atomic Core. Okay.
Yeah, Atomic, one word.
There's a lot of like really weird esoteric companies that help developers develop code more securely.
They're the ones that manage OSSEC in this country.
Yep.
When
also,
Trend
I'm
Micro
thinking,
has problems with OSSEC, they call the Shin
Do you guys
brothers.
talk about JScrambler? Like if you're implementing JavaScript, making sure your JavaScript is secure and what you're implementing, like there's a lot of like really awesome companies that help developers use secure software in order to develop more secure code. Well, but VS Code is kind of like the friggin' Wild West.
Yes.
And I feel like we need a correction, right?
Here's the question I have. And Sam, I'm going to push this back at you. Who would pay for secure development environments?
Oh, I think a
corporations
lot
that
of
want
companies
security,
would.
yeah. Every company would.
Why?
And now
Not
that
every
everybody's getting hit by supply chain attacks, you could say, here's this spreading stuff in the extensions, here's these malicious libraries in NPM, and here's something you could buy that would lower your risk to that. I think
Tell
a lot
me
of
an
companies would
executive
pay
who
for it.
cares.
Oh, you just have to give them the headlines of people that got hacked
Yeah.
by supply chain attacks.
No. But Josh, it's
I'm with Josh on this one.
integrity.
I'm with Josh on this
But
one.
hold on, I'm with Sam on this one. It's about integrity. I employ 5,000 developers, and I want them to write secure code. That's one problem.
No, you don't.
But also, I want them to use secure software and methods to develop said code, and I would pay money for a product that enables them to have a secure development environment, which is the first thing, secure development environment. Secondly, something to help them develop more secure code without incurring more cost, because the cost of developing insecure software is conceivably higher than the cost I want to pay for a solution that enables them to develop secure code in a secure platform.
And that is a very big argument to
If
have.
the math doesn't work out, that's a different story. I think that's what Sam and Larry are going to argue, right? The math has to work out.
Any penny you spend as a CEO on securing your code or the environment you build your code or any of these things is a penny less than bonus you take home at the end of the quarter. Number one.
Yeah.
Number
wait
two.
a minute.
I'm not done. I'm not
marketing.
done.
Okay.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Two, on the converse side of that, you're right, Sam. If you can market your code as secure, maybe more people will buy your stuff. I get it. And it's an argument I use all the time why security and compliance is actually a marketing and sales initiative, not a cost center. It's a revenue center, and it can be. However, in the minds of many, I'm not even saying most these days, but in many executives out there, it's dollars spent that takes directly away from my bonus and makes me legally liable to lawsuit. Because executives are legally mandated to extract every bit of value that they can for their shareholders, as long as they're a publicly traded company. I know I'm speaking for a smaller, cohort, but let's roll with it for a second. You've got to prove to me that not only are you going to save me money by doing this, but the savings is going to come this quarter.
Well, I think this is why that Sophos firewall is so important. They are marketing it as the more secure firewall.
Right.
And so they can be the test case. Do they actually sell more? Can they charge more for it? And
I'd
I'm betting
love
they
to
could.
see figures on that.
But also, I'm going to back up Sam's statement and glom it on with something else that is a very proven statistic in information security and software security. It is much more cost effective to find and fix a bug earlier in the development cycle than if it ships in production.
Yep.
So if I'm the executive and Josh is the CEO or board of directors, and you're like, what are you going to do to save this company money to make sure we don't have insecure software? I'm like, I'm going to implement software that allows my developers to catch and fix bugs earlier in the process, which is much cheaper to fix than if we were to ship that bug in production and have to go back and fix it. Right?
Please understand, I agree with you and I love these arguments. Don't misunderstand me. I am devil's advocating because I've been smacked with these enough times. Okay? Just to be clear.
Devil's advocate and act like an asshole, because you're not an asshole, but I'm asking you to act like an asshole.
Is your software fix it, shift left crap going to delay my software rolling out to production by 1 day? Because if it delays by 1 day, that's $3 million lost. Fuck you. I'm not doing it.
But this is a great conversation that Matt Alderman and I used to have about delivering software, right? And it's sometimes you got to take a almost a timeout from fixing bugs and features to improve the process, whether that's just for improving the process to ship software faster or improve the process to deliver more secure, more integral code than before.
True.
And if we do that moving forward,
I agree.
I'm going to be able to move faster to fix more bugs, to squash security issues, right? And that's the balance we take. I'm not saying all the time, like I don't want to spend all of my time fixing security issues, but I do want to take timeouts in my sprints to fix security issues and process issues such that moving forward, we're able to do that shit more faster and more efficient to ship better code
Agreed.
that has less issues.
This is the eternal balance between production and infrastructure.
Dude, this is software security at its like core. Right? And the
Yeah.
only reason I'm able to articulate it is because I spend time as a developer.
Right.
In functioning software, right?
I taught development. I did a little bit of that. I suck at it now. If you want me to write code,
we're not just talking about security pundits. Like, we've all been developers of software in different capacities at different time, and we get it, right? Like, that's the rub.
And fixing
That
technical
it's really,
debt.
and it's not hard. It's not easy. This is hard. This is not just technology decisions. These are business decisions.
That's exactly it. And the problem is, if you ship software too late, if your salesman promised too early, if your designers don't quite understand that tweak you needed to make the sucker work, if your math is
if you're not first to market,
you can lose. And if you lose,
but if you're too focused on if you're too focused on first to market,
you can lose as well
and
to a second run advantage, second mover advantage.
You can't be hyper focused on features because you're going to incur too much technical debt at a certain juncture and not be able to fix bugs and make security improvements to keep up with market demand.
Guys, I think everybody is right because there are different business models. There are some models, shipping stuff fast, being the first to market with a crappy product, that's our business model. And other people where the business model is we're the beautiful, very secure stuff you can really trust, like Apple. And I think it just depends whether you're trying to make, is your reputation for privacy and security the main thing, or is your being first to market with the first product the main thing? And those are two different companies.
I will say though, I have this gut reaction to that, Sam, where I do agree, but also AI technology has enabled us to find these flaws. I think
it's also enabled us to create them,
create them, and but also more quickly identify them than ever before. So, if you're of the mindset of first to market but crappy software, it gets noticed much faster than ever before, right? Which could hurt you in the long run.
But if you're making the cheapest smart light bulbs, it's probably okay that the people complain about it a year later.
I mean, it's kind of like hedging a bet, right? Like if we were all the four of us created an IoT company today and have the culture and mindset of features first, screw security, first to market, we could be successful for quite some time before security researchers take notice and go, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Right.
And quite honestly, I suspect that given our stature in the security community, it wouldn't be very long before people took notice and said, what the fuck?
Right. Because of
what we have preached for before
the availability of information to find those AI and whatever aside, like the facilities we have to find and discover vulnerabilities today, and the way information flows so quickly today, if you're the shitty company that's making shitty software but you're first, you may also fail first.
Yep.
No, but if you're selling, if you're selling home devices to unsophisticated end users, they will never catch on. If you're selling enterprise classes to big companies, they might care. But, if you're really selling smart light bulbs, those customers will never hear security reports.
That's but Sam, wow, I agree with you, but holy shit, is that a harsh reality?
Yeah.
That we can create a company and make shitty consumer products
that's the beauty of capitalism. It's
and ignore security entirely. But
there's always the bottom shelf products that are cheaper and lower quality. That's always an option.
Sam, go the other way. Juicero. Do you remember them?
No.
It was the $400 juicer that you had to buy the packs of fruit to juice. And it turns out that there was just fruit in the packs and it was just squoze them. That's it. And it was so bad. And there's so many very expensive products.
I buy that because but hold on. Number one, I'm lazy. And I don't want to go procure fresh fruit and deal with the life cycle of fresh fruit. But also I'm cheap, and if I order DoorDash from Tropical Smoothie Cafe, it costs me a friggin' fortune. A fortune. I'm going to challenge you right now. I love Tropical Smoothie Cafe. I would drink those every single day of my life. If you DoorDash that shit, you have to be really fucking rich to afford that every single day. So, given your business proposal, I would, if you could give that at a value, I would buy it.
But the thing is that the packs are just fruit inside of tinfoil. They rot just as fast unless you keep them cold.
Exactly.
So it's not a valid business model.
There's a downside to that. I agree.
Yeah. Point is that there's a lot of crappy software.
Yeah. What is the
out
point?
there.
I don't remember where we're going with this.
The point is there's a lot of crappy software,
and now I want a smoothie. Thank you very much.
You've got a potato smoothie right there. It's called a martini.
It is. Yes.
Oh, a vodka martini.
Hopefully, enough of the ice is melted where there's not as much vodka as there was.
It's a fermented potato smoothie, therefore it's good for your gut.
It's not potato vodka, but whatever.
Close enough. Get some marijuana vodka. Apparently, that's really good.
What?
Oh yeah.
Hold on. What is marijuana vodka? Do I want to ask?
They filter it
or did
through
you
marijuana
just say, are you like
leaves.
an AI? Did you just hallucinate that?
No. I've never had it, but I have a buddy who has had it, and he told me it's incredibly good, but it will affect you a little bit.
Do they make vodka like in the same process, but rather than potato or corn,
they filter it through
the leaves.
They're filtering it through the marijuana. They're effectively making a marijuana tincture.
Yeah, exactly.
With the vodka.
Oh, good word. I didn't think of that.
That just blows my mind. I don't remember what we're talking about security related now because that just blew my mind. That literally just blew my mind.
First to market crappy software.
It's always a question of, is the software that comes first to market good enough, or a pile of crap because they tried to get too fast to market? In the latter two cases, oftentimes the second mover advantage will come up and take the market share away from them.
Yep.
But if you're just good enough and just fast enough to get enough market share that you have so many signups, then you get acquired. And it's literally a race.
It is
between your runway.
Dude, it's totally like Ring. Like Ring is a shining example of that.
Yeah.
Because their software was not crappy enough for us to really poo-poo them. And they had a vulnerability early on.
Yep.
But they fixed it fast enough. Then they got acquired by
Google.
Amazon.
Is it Google or Amazon?
They got acquired by Google.
Right.
Right. And they kept that model of, I don't have to worry about Ring software updates. It just does that in the background.
Right.
Which is pretty amazing.
But that's the model.
But then you get in the privacy model of what is the latest news about Ring? Like you're going to automatically include you in this surveillance thing where people don't need warrants and
police departments will either give you a Ring camera or give you a discounted Ring doorbell because they want access to the Ring footage.
It makes me want a different doorbell other than Ring.
I have a Ring.
It's an opt-in.
And it's not bad.
It is an opt-in, and I opt out. Yeah. And so I keep my Ring because I can opt out.
Right.
Of all that crap.
But I have an Ubiquity in a box just in case I decide to change.
Ubiquity is one of the did I add a story about that? I had a story about that.
I thought something about Ubiquity.
There's an open source Flashbot. Yeah, my story number 2. Holy shit.
Flash boot.
Nope, it's not Flash boot. Shit. No. It's fuck. I had a story about it's in my Instapaper. I don't think I added it to the show. But it's an open source. If you buy these cameras, they send the video stream in an open format. You can install this open source software and basically create your own Ring camera system that isn't dependent on anyone else's cloud or software.
Is it OnVIF?
Nope. No. It's a different one. I don't remember what it is.
Wait, say this again?
But it's awesome.
So
you can create the software that I found.
It's got to go look elsewhere for it because you didn't add it to the show notes.
Yeah. You talk amongst yourselves for a moment.
Okay.
Legs are like butter. Welcome to this is your host, Paul Baldwin. Welcome to Coffee Talk.
My sweaty balls.
Talk about another story. Yeah.
What's that?
My sweaty balls.
Your sweaty balls. Okay.
I love my sweaty balls. The rest of
so what we're talking about that one, as if we needed another reason to hate Microsoft Teams.
Oh, Frigate NVR.
No, Frigate. We're doing Microsoft Teams right now.
No, it's called Frigate. It's called Frigate. Frigate. Monitor your security cameras locally with processed AI. So this is a totally open source model for like I got cameras, and it makes in their documentation, it makes recommendations for hardware, recommended hardware right here. Hold on, I'm going to show my screen. So this is the thing right here, Frigate. I love the name now that I say it out loud. And so here are the cameras that recommend Dahua cameras, which I question the security of the Dahua cameras.
And Hikvision.
Hikvision, Amcrest. Hikvision goes to a 404 though, which I think because of sanctions. Is that true?
Yeah.
If I click this one, dude, look, it's like, sorry, I can't find that camera, which I thought was really, really funny.
Yeah, I think Hikvision is banned from being sold in the U.S.
It is.
I think so too.
Dahua is.
But here's so Amcrest was the cheapest one at like $68, and then there's two Dahua. But I want to say, am I saying that right? Dahua,
yeah.
Dahua is more like $160. And you can basically buy these cameras, integrate them into an open source framework that allows you to do AI processing, and it shows you how to walk through the different models. But you basically create your own camera system independent of hosting it in the cloud, so you don't have the ring issues of, oh, I'm going to share with law enforcement.
Yep.
Blah blah.
They did note that any camera that supports H.264 or an AAC is
which is most
going
of
to
them.
be the good one.
I was thinking I could probably integrate my Reolink, but Reolink also gives you a local DVR as well. But you want to be the not cloud hosted but local one to get around those issues. Anyway, what were we saying? Why is that relevant again?
I don't know. Microsoft Teams. As if we needed another reason to hate Microsoft Teams.
You know what? Let's just pivot to Microsoft Teams and pick on Teams.
Yeah.
Larry, go.
Simple article. New features in Microsoft Teams will notify your Teams chats that when you are in the office, they're looking to have it integrate with which Wi-Fi network you connect to, so that when you connect to the office Wi-Fi, it automatically sets your out location to the office. And if you're connecting to the one at home,
I feel like Teams is just spyware now.
I hate Teams. I hate Teams. And I have to use Teams.
Are you not Google? Your Office 365?
No, we are Google, but there are a couple
customers,
of customers that have requested that we do some more real time communication with.
And they create Teams, and then it's
So now we have to use Teams.
Yep.
And because of geopolitical issues, Google and Slack are not typically options, and that
it's interesting though.
Yeah,
security aside for a moment, you're either G Suite and Teams, or you're O365. I'm sorry, you're G Suite and Slack,
right?
Or your Office 365 and Teams.
Yep.
And I don't like the 365 and Teams option.
Mm-mm.
I like the G Suite and Slack option way better.
I will also say,
why is that? It's just like a gut
and
me, right?
You know, Google Meet is not the best.
Google Meet is fine.
Zoom
I like
arguably
Meet.
Zoom is better, but that's personal preference. So,
I don't know. I use both on Linux, by the way. Google Teams. Sorry. Google Meet, rather, and Zoom, and even Microsoft Teams work great on Linux. But I feel better when I'm using Google Meet and Zoom. I feel kind of dirty when I use Teams. Why is that? Why do I feel dirty when you use Teams?
It's awful. It's an awful.
It's
an awful user experience.
Yes, Teams is okay. Look, let me. Here's the deal. Go have a Teams meeting, and then look back at your Teams list so you can keep track of all your meetings. And it just scrolls and it scrolls and it scrolls, and it's freaking horrible at finding stuff. And then go into SharePoint and try and find the folder affiliated with that meeting.
Oh no!
And you just want to basically just smack people because, it's in SharePoint. Where? I don't know. Is it OneDrive or SharePoint?
I can't find anything in Google Drive either, Josh.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's true.
Although Gemini is not...
But
here's the thing.
For me,
not horrible. Gemini is glommed onto the G Suite experience.
Uh-huh.
And it's not entirely horrible.
No. No, it's not
Although
entirely great,
I
but it's
kind
not-
of, what is Gotti and what is Gotti everyone's company?
Gnostic.
Gnostic. They exist for a reason, right? To like make
Well,
sure
they do
that
knowledge
my-
access management. That's different.
Yeah,
They're there to check
to
whether
make sure
you-
like my Copilot and Gemini experience isn't basically borking my company security and privacy wise, right?
So, but here's the thing. By the way, in terms of Google, Kevin Johnson taught me this. He said we set up one folder in the Secure Ideas generic account that holds all of the documents from everybody. That way, everything is in the same file tree.
Huh.
They're allowed to save things to their local drive, to their own drive, but everything related to corporate is in this one folder and in the subsequent tree. I'm like, you know what? That's brilliant, because otherwise everything gets lost 5 minutes later.
Yep.
I mean, say what you will about Kevin. He's a sharp guy.
Oh my God.
I love Kevin, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, Teams is awful. Like if I go to Slack and I need to see a bunch of channels for a bunch of messages, like they're all there on the right hand side and I can rearrange them. Teams, like I know there's like 30 channels in my Teams thing, but I can only see like 2 of them at a time unless I click like 7 buttons and then
weird. It's weird. It's
Don't
weird.
get me friggin' started.
It's
Okay,
weird.
please?
Oh, and if you want to post, you have to either follow up on someone else's post or you click a post in channel first to create a new thread.
It's weird. It's almost as weird as Windows 11.
Don't go there.
But what's so weird about a Windows 11?
All right. So I had 2 stories about this.
Okay.
I'm trying to make sure we get these in order.
I didn't ditch Linux for Windows 11 for a week was one of the stories up there.
Yeah, but I want to say I had. Oh, so my story number 18. What happened to running what you wanted on your own machine versus what is forced on you, right? So this article comes from Hackaday, and I don't know what to make of that sub headline, Larry. I really don't.
It's the martinis talking.
No, before I had martinis and I read this headline, I was like, "What are you making?"
Why are they pegging the news?
It says news ? Pegged. But in any case, it's talking about what we've talked about on the show before, the security trade-offs between the walled garden and the open ecosystem.
Yep.
Right. And I think at the extremes, Apple provides the walled garden, Linux provides the open ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at that in terms of freedom, you're like, oh, I would choose Linux all day long. But when you look at that in the lens of security, we get confused, which is interesting because Linux pundits like myself are like, wait a minute. I like freedom, but I also like security. And shit. If I choose freedom, I need to not as much choose security.
Oh, I mean, you could choose security. You just need to work a whole lot harder at it.
True.
A whole lot harder.
100%.
You need to work harder.
Yes, you as the individual, right?
Yes.
So like Apple is the walled garden. They validate every app. They sign every app that's in the iOS.
And we'll use validate in air quotes there, but
sure.
there is
Right,
a
different
process.
levels.
There is a process.
Right. But when you get to Linux, you're like, oh, I can run any kernel I want. I can run any code I want. I can run any kernel extension I want. And I like that freedom. But coupled with that freedom is a lessened sense of security. And I don't think people can dispute that. You can't dispute that.
And we were having this conversation a little bit earlier with Sam too. When you think your Apple ecosystem with the walled garden, you pay the Apple tax,
right?
Like you can get an Apple MacBook Pro, M4, M5, and it's fully equipped, max 64 gigs of RAM. I don't even remember now because I haven't looked at one in so long, but it's like $4,000. And you can go get a similarly equipped framework laptop, 64 gigs of RAM, buttloads of storage that you can
Easily.
swap out
half the
$2,000.
half the price.
$2,000.
Yep.
And you can run Linux on it, but you can't run Mac OS on it.
Correct. Case in point, right?
Yep. So now
And
you've got to do $2,000 worth of work.
Right.
Just have that same level of feeling.
100%. And that's what this article is talking about, right?
Yeah.
Is it's and I don't even think the author knew that they were drawing this parallel, right, between freedom and security. It's an interesting, in all the 20 years we're doing this podcast, right? Like, it's an interesting kind of parallel between freedom and security. I think we've hinted towards it in the past, and we're at this juncture, right? Like, what operating system do you want to run, and what's the trade-off between the freedom and or liberties? Liberties is a big term in this context, right? The freedom and liberties that are associated with open source in the Linux operating system versus Windows versus Apple Mac OS. It's very fascinating. It's a great article by Hackaday.
And I love some of the juxtaposition. There's an image here that down a little further. Apple is credited with pioneering the modern smartphone and in turn the walled garden that is the App Store. And then the next section is Windows, watches, and waits. Why? Because Windows, and even pushed harder with Windows 11, is to have a version of Windows that is locked exclusively to run apps from the Microsoft Store.
It is. Microsoft is like, this article, I think, speaks to the Microsoft vision, if you will, that we're kind of postulating that could happen of what if the future of Windows is everything is locked down. Everything comes from a Windows App Store. Approved Windows, which security-wise is great. I'm not going to argue that, right? Like, I'm a huge Linux pundit, but I'm not going to argue that if there is this kind of walled garden, as we've termed it with Apple, that it is more secure, because it is.
Yep.
Right. There's certain safeguards. There's certain validation that happens for every piece of code running. Sam, please.
You'd have to actually clean up the Microsoft Store, though. When the Microsoft Store came out, there were 100 Adobe readers, all malware in there.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
The Apple App Store is really pretty clean, so Microsoft has to up their game there.
Yeah. But everyone does. Google does as well. Google in the Hackaday article talks about the Google further restrictions on how they're going to tighten down Android to go. Right. You have to get your code approved and signed to run in this platform, and that's a sacrifice on freedom. But it's also like an advance in security, which, as an open source advocate, like, pains me, Sam. It pains me.
Yeah, but it's all going to end up in the same place because of the European law. The European law forced Apple to open the iPhone and have alternative app stores. So Android and Apple are both going to meet in the middle. And of course, you can always install a stock Android that does not meet Google's requirements or have Google's restrictions, or a third-party OS like Lineage OS.
But the problem with that, Sam, that I see is certain apps will choose not to run in that environment.
Of course.
And this is kind of an esoteric, I don't hear too many people talking about this. It's an esoteric thing in even the Android store. An app like Netflix, for example, can use the Android attestation API to go, what kind of Android am I running on? Oh, is it jailbroken? You know what? I'm not going to run. Why? Because it could enable people to do pirate content from the Netflix application. So therefore, it's security, privacy, and what do you call it?
This gets you back to GNU, the Free Software Foundation, where nothing should be copyrighted. And the fact is, you have an interaction between the corporate copyrighted world and your attempt to make open source software. And of course, DRM, there's a natural conflict there.
Enforcement of DRM is a horrible privacy freedom violation,
right?
But also kind of a checkbox in security. as well.
And protecting your intellectual property is a real security issue. I mean, you're
It
losing
is.
your money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Again, I don't necessarily fault Netflix for doing that.
They have
but as someone who's like, I don't want to buy the Roku or the NVIDIA pre-canned system. I want to be able to have more freedom to implement my own operating system, but still install the Netflix app. Like, we're at conflict with each other now.
You know, if you're going to be a counterculture hippie, you have to accept not being tied to the corporate culture with all their proprietary stuff. That's the cost.
But there's usability that suffers in support of security, which is, it's hard. It's a double-edged sword, right? Like, as security people are like, I don't want to sacrifice freedom because we're all proponents of open source and freedom, but also we don't want to sacrifice security. So, like, here we are in this weird kind of, in between limbo land of what do we do?
Well, I'm going to say the same thing I said about the business argument we had earlier. You have to define security for your use case, and that it's going to be customized. There's not one thing called security. There's achieving your goals, and maybe your goals are cooperating with the big corporate customers and selling to military customers, in which case you have to be in their world, or your goals are to have the ability to run completely any strange software you want to write, and that's a different, those are just two different lifestyles,
there's
two different goals.
There's like a middle ground, right? Like, it's interesting. NVIDIA Shield to me is like that middle ground. NVIDIA provides a great Android operating system that is updated, that is secure, that complies to allow Netflix to run, but doesn't have, in my opinion, from what I've observed, like heinous security vulnerabilities. That's a great middle ground, right? It is. And they support a lot of older devices as well. Like I was telling Larry, like, there's a lot of NVIDIA Shield in my home. I haven't retired one of my NVIDIA Shield operating systems because it's secure, it's reliable, they do the attestation, they allow those apps to run. But Google's decision to go, you can't third-party sideload any applications, might be the deal breaker.
So in we had similar types of things in our house this week. Our set-top boxes that I have from Verizon for FiOS, we've had them so long they're no longer supported, and they're going to be decommissioned at the end of the month. So at the end of the month, we're going to lose TV because they're not going to support them anymore.
Right.
So I have to call and get something switched, and it's going to cost more money and blah, blah, blah. So we started investigating doing YouTube TV.
Which is great.
On our WebOS-enabled TV.
Right. From Samsung?
It's from Samsung.
Yep.
And quite honestly, the TV is 6 years old, and it's a turd now.
Yeah, the built-in stuff. I have some LG TVs for my two younger sons.
Yep.
That I know they came from China. They paid the minimum licensing fees, and it's really slow, and I have to go in and tweak it every once in a while. But it will run the basic apps to do that, albeit slow, albeit horrible. But
it was to the point that YouTube TV was actually kind of painful to use.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there's a show on Paramount that we watch that it had always been very stuttery. Like, you'd watch about 30 seconds, then it would buffer, and then you'd watch 30 seconds, and it would buffer. But it would maybe buffer for 1 or 2 seconds, so it was reasonable for a while. But now the Paramount app will load. It will start playing the preview video of whatever's on the main screen.
Yep.
But it won't actually show anything on the screen. It just plays the audio. It's completely unusable.
I know. I've been there.
So I spent $150 and bought an Apple TV, and I'm calling it canceling. I'm calling it canceled FiOS TV tomorrow.
Because you pay that one-time fee, shit runs, and then
and it's great. It took us a good couple of days to figure out YouTube TV and the remote on the Apple TV, and now that we've got it, it's done.
But what we're talking about relates to my story on customizing your Windows 11 experience, right? Is that like kind of line you walk between free and open software and commercial software.
Yep.
And for my story number 2, like Flash boot, right? Like someone wrote it. So it's my story number 2 in another story. So someone wrote like, hey, I was running Linux and I ran Windows 11 and I had a terrible experience. What was that story?
I saw it there.
I did.
Number 10.
I ditched Linux for Windows 11 for 1 week and found 9 big problems. Now, look, a lot of listeners know I'm the biggest Linux proponent there is.
Before that, you were the biggest Apple proponent.
I was, until the walled garden got me frustrated, and I was like, I need to run Linux. I'll fully admit that.
Commitment to XR and AI, and I'm thrilled.
I was like, what the hell is that?
That was awesome. A video played when I loaded this article. So
with audio, that was fucking loud.
So
autoplay videos should be banned. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. ZDNet. But anyway, so the author of this article is Jack Wallen. And Jack was like, look, I ran Linux. I tried to run Windows, and these were my issues. And he talked about creating a local account.
Yep.
And Google passkeys and email clients and natural scrolling and ads and OneDrive, right? And I'm like, look, you didn't listen to our podcast because, like, look, and I'm the world's biggest Linux proponent, but I'm like, you also, if you need to run Windows and these things are your issues, you need to use something like Rufus or Shenigans to customize your Windows 11 experience such that it doesn't require a local account. It doesn't load OneDrive. It doesn't load all of the ads. And I'm okay. Look, I would prefer that you run Linux. 100%. Those that know me and have listened to this podcast and my presentations know. And run Linux, right? But I also know not everyone's going to run Linux. And with Windows 10 being end of life on October 14th, we saw a slew of articles about that in the past couple of weeks, right? I know you're just still going to want to run Windows. But if the things in Windows that frustrate you are the things in this article, go create a custom installer that is Rufus, that is Shenigans, that disables OneDrive, disables a local account creation, right? Like I have a VM of Windows 11. I have a Windows 11 system. I have 2 of them, right? There are facilities that allow you to run Windows without all of from installation time, right? Yep. Customize that experience to do that. So yep. I agree with this article, but I think that if you're reading this article going, oh my God, I'm frustrated with Windows 11, dude, customize your Windows 11 experience so it doesn't have all of the bloatware, all the ads, all the OneDrive. I was going to say, Paul,
you shouldn't have to, and I was looking at his number 4. Natural scrolling is so unnatural. Next thing I had to do is disable natural scrolling. Off to settings I went. Feature was easy to find. I switched off and my preferred scrolling direction. And for me, I'm like, oh, well, you shouldn't have to customize it. Well, Mac for me, I don't remember which one I like, but I like it the way it was, and it's not the default on the Mac.
Right.
So I have to change it.
But Linux, and I'm like, well, the same way.
And I'm like, and I'm like, okay, that's not so bad. But the next part of the paragraphs there is that it should have been the end of it, but no, for whatever reason, I could not get Windows to honor the change. No matter what I did, Windows 11 insisted natural scrolling was what I wanted. By the time, the entire time I used Windows 11, my brain had to constantly readjust itself to remember I was living in bizarro world. That would drive me nuts. It's the first thing that I do that I change on my Mac and sets that way.
I don't even remember what the setting is, but like, when I scroll down, I want to scroll down, not up.
When I take my fingers and I drag it down, I want the screen to go in the down direction.
Down.
That's just a setting on the mouse. You want me to show it?
Just as God intended.
But Josh, UI designers, they want that to be backwards, and it's just mind-boggling.
I understand that it's weird, but once you do it for a little while, you get used to it. I hate it. So I switch it on the mouse setting. I'm running a Mac right now.
But Josh, most technology people like us do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and you know what? It's an ageist thing.
We want unnatural. I think we want unnatural scrolling.
Well, I mean, it's an ageist thing. Like, think about how long we have been using a computer for.
Yes.
that when you scroll
Agreed.
down,
You
the
want to go
screen went down.
Right.
Hey, wait. I got one for you. Sam, what's the hand signal for I'm on the phone?
I guess it's this.
It's this.
Or this, right? No.
Yeah.
Right.
It's this if you're under
Not
35.
this.
Well, yeah, you're right about that. Yeah.
Oh, because
It's
they
like-
hold the
like-
whole phone to their face.
Yeah,
Cell
remember
phone,
this one where
right?
they say, where young kids will ask, what is that funny looking button you're clicking? That's the save button. Well, what is that picture? That's a floppy disk. Well, what's that? You know?
Oh my God!
Right.
Somebody 3D
Right.
printed the
Printed
save icon.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was just reading somewhere that there was a discussion about that for the hang up button. Like if we look at Riverside, the hang up button, the leave button is a phone
Oh
that's
my
like its
God.
place in the cradle.
Which doesn't
Does-
exist
like
anymore.
old
It hasn't-
I was
phone,
at, I
yeah.
was at John Con, and my kids were going to the Philtel display, which by the way is fucking awesome. If you ever get a chance, look at it. And they were picking up the phones and going, "That's the sound on the phones you have at home," because I have a military phone DNVT system just so
Right.
I can teach them about phones with handsets. Okay. And by the way, I got that to an Asterisk developer. He's going to implement it into Asterisk.
Nice.
You know what? I need to do a technical segment on how I configure my Windows 11 because I used the Schneegans one, not Rufus, but Schneegans, to
'Cause they're
create an unintended XML file
Yep.
install for Windows that to the like the person that created this article handles most of this person's issues with Windows 11. And again, I'm the most anti-Windows 10, Windows 11 person on the planet, but I need Windows
Same.
in my life as well for the security research that I do.
Yep. Same.
And I'm like, I just want Windows. I don't want OneDrive. I don't want all this other crap.
For the longest time, same, because I do ham radio stuff,
Yeah, dude.
and arguably the best ham radio stuff runs on Windows.
I'm not disputing that.
I've got to use Windows.
Microsoft makes a great operating system
Oh, yeah.
with Windows. However, for most of us technology enthusiasts and hackers, we need the trimmed down Windows, which you can achieve with these other tools. That's my point. That's the only point.
The best part for so long, a lot of the tools that I was running for my ham radio stuff, that the latest operating system that they were developed for was Windows XP.
Right.
And they would still run on Windows 10, but there was no intent for them to go do any updatings. In many cases, some of the developers of the software had developed these as part of their ham radio stuff that were no longer in the hobby because they were infirm or dead.
Yeah.
Like, because they were older.
Well,
And
how many people, okay, of the four of us here now, how many of us have ever worked on a Heathkit or similar?
Me.
What is Heathkit?
Heathkit was an electronics company that did do-it-yourself stuff, and they were also sold to Radio Shack. They're partnered with Radio Shack.
Right.
Yeah,
How
as part of my bio. When I was a kid, the family television set caught on fire twice. I helped rebuild it both times. It was a Heathkit television.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah,
I didn't realize
And
it was a Heathkit.
Yep, it was a Heathkit, and it caught on fire. And the Heathkit television sets that they did, the color television sets, were notorious for causing fires. And they actually, I think at one point they ended up having like a class action lawsuit against them.
My story number 2 is on Flashbot, which is an interesting way to create like a minimal Windows 11
flash boot
drive.
It is 2 O's in the title there.
What did I say?
Flashbot. Are they blending together? Have you had enough martinis, or are you good?
I have not had enough martinis.
Flash boot. Is that when you light your farts on fire?
Boot.
Yeah.
No. My story number 2, Flash boot.
Speaking of
thank you,
farts on fire. Number 2.
It's a Windows USB thumb drive. They have a free version and a commercial version that lets you create basically what we're talking about, like a minimal Windows bootable flash drive that everything lives on the flash drive, not your hard drive.
Didn't we do
Like,
a
if you
story
wanted to
about that
create, like-
recently about the most slick down Windows installation ever or something like that?
Yeah, again, Rufus, Schneegans, you could
Yeah.
use those config to install Windows. So what I'm saying is, my story number 2, you don't need to have a paid version of Flash Boot. Thank you, Larry. Flash Boot. You could create a Windows. You could do this yourself, basically, if you did some kind of research in order to do that. But Flash Boot gives you like a paid version. If you're like, I don't want to do the work to like install Windows, create a bootable flash drive, or have a writable partition, which is totally like, if you were to go research that, you could do that on your own. But Flash Boot has like a commercial version that allows you to create that if you give them money. You don't need to give them money. You can do that on your own.
Yep. I love one of the paid options. Prepared USB thumb drive for installation of Windows XP to internal hard drive or SSD.
You can do that on your own.
Yep.
If you put in the work.
Right. Or you can pay someone $30 and it's done for you.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Also, on the free version, install UEFI shell to a USB thumb drive.
I can tell you how to do that on your own.
But it comes in the free version now.
Right.
What else we got? Got any stories from Sam or Josh?
Yeah.
Sam. Big story.
Yeah. Well, all right. One thing, there's an article about the latest surveillance company. There was NSO got sued, and they've been ordered that they can't hack into WhatsApp anymore, which is going to destroy the company. I thought they were already dead anyway when they got sanctions put on them. But there's another one that's been hiding,
but they just created different companies from what I understand, Sam.
Yeah.
If you're NSO group operating out of Israel and you have sanctions, you then go to, I think it's Greece, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I created a new company in Greece and you should buy the software from us and we're all good now, right?
Well, that might be what happened here, because the new company is from Jakarta and they're called WAP.
Yeah.
And they've been buying
Jakarta is like Africa, South Africa.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Where is Jakarta?
It's mid Africa, if I remember correctly, but Jesus, I'd have to look.
But they've made another app like this that will hack into people's phones and give you control of them. And
Indonesia.
they also and they pretend to only sell it to legitimate people. So a reporter snuck into the conference and presented himself as a representative of a really shady government. They said, oh, yeah, we're not supposed to sell to people like you, but we have a way to like pass it through someone and change the paperwork. And sure, we can do that.
Dude, it's so shady, right?
Yeah. So, they're just the latest version of this stuff. And, I'm seeing this stuff more and more. I mean, I think I'm seeing the lower imitation copies, but I have a lot of students that their phones have been hacked and their life is ruined and some kind of persistent junk is on it. And I think there's a whole stalkerware epidemic. You can buy stuff commercially and you can get this stuff that will just take over your phone and you can't find it and you can't remove it. And now they're in your whole life.
Well, it's the whole thing, Sam. What I'm hearing from industry experts is that, Apple has vulnerabilities and they're only willing to pay out a certain amount of money, which is less than what you can go sell that exploit for on the black market.
Yeah.
And what's the level set, right? Like, I find an iOS 0-day or a chain of exploits. And let's say I can go sell that for $1 million, right?
Yeah.
What can curb me as an individual from selling that on the black market for $1 million? Well, if Apple, put yourself in the shoes of the researcher, I can sell it in the black market for $1 million. And it's not $1 million up front in the US. It's cryptocurrency. And it's cryptocurrency that is paid to me in installments until such time that someone figures out there's a vulnerability, discloses it to Apple, and maybe I get $250,000 for that exploit because someone else found it. It was disclosed to Apple, and it cut off my exploit that was really worth $1 million or $2 million.
Yep.
So Apple needs to up it, and Apple has the money to do this. Apple is the most, in terms of cash, Apple is the most cash out of like any other security company or software company in the world, right? So as an exploit developer, I'm going to go send my exploit to Apple. And I'm guaranteed $500,000 from Apple or $1 million in the black market that's contingent upon I'm going to give $100,000 up front and then $100,000 every month after that until when your exploit works until such time there's a patch, right?
Well, but these guys are
not
like black
it's
market.
like the bets you're hedging.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
right?
These guys have the sweet spot. They're the gray market. They're legal for a while, and they're selling it to a lot of people.
Right.
And so that's the way you're not even taking the risk of being illegal. So they probably have the maximum profit plan here, but they're all too tempted to sell to shady people to get more money.
Right. Mm-hmm. Or they're selling it to multiple. The middleware is selling it to multiple people. Right. I got the exploit chain. There's not one exploit, maybe it's 3. And I'm selling it to an intermediary. Just selling it to other people.
And, there's fairly legitimate places like Celebrite. Celebrite seems to really only sell to legitimate governments, and they stay in business. And they keep on developing new exploits. They claim they can hack into every version of every phone, so they keep developing new stuff. And they seem to be a pretty respected business.
The exploit market is it's crazy right now.
Yeah.
I've heard things where, like, if Apple were to, like, let's say Apple has like a $250,000 bounty on a particular vulnerability and exploit. If they would increase that to $1 million, they could curb X percentage of people who are trying to sell that on the black market.
Maybe. It's an interesting hypothesis. You'd have to try it experimentally.
Everybody problem is like exploring this, and like I'm listening. I'm going like I get it. Like if Apple were to up their bug bounty, could they curb other people for selling it on the black market?
Remember, there's military and law enforcement agencies that really need these exploits, and they will develop them or purchase them anywhere they can.
I get that.
And then those things will leak out of the military into the shady commercial side,
right?
Especially in other countries. So I don't think you can ever stop it, because the military has good reasons to have it.
But you can curb a certain percentage of the market if Apple were to pay more. That's what I gleaned recently from people talking about this. Like,
well, you could argue about that.
If Apple were like, look, you've got a 2 or 3 vulnerability and exploit payload, we'll give you $1 million for that.
Well, sure. And another thing
on the street, let's say on the street, you can make $2 million or more.
Yeah.
What are you going to do as an attacker?
Well, you could also increase law enforcement and actually prosecute people who sell it on the black market, and that would be another way to deflect them to the legitimate market.
Agreed. That's another way to curb this one. But let's put that aside. Let's just look at selling to the company that makes software versus not. If Apple was like, dude, Apple makes like ridiculous amounts of money. Like, what is Apple's revenue? They're a public company.
Remember they were richer than the whole U.S. government at one point.
Apple's revenue is what? $1 billion or more? Is it $1 billion or more?
Well, I think it's
Apple's revenue.
I think it's $1 or $2 trillion a year now, and so is Microsoft.
Their revenue, like not profit, but revenue, right?
Right, revenue, yeah.
So 2024 was $391 billion.
Oh, all right.
So this is where I'm going. Like, look, I'm a security researcher. I found a vulnerability. I want to sell to you, Apple.
Yeah.
You need to be on par, right? Like at the same price or more than what I can sell to in the black market.
Well, I bet
if you are, but even if you're less, I'm going to sell it to Apple. Like, look, I'm going to make the math basic. I find an Apple 0 day. I can sell it to Apple for $500,000.
Yep.
Or I can sell it on the black market for $1 million. Like most times, a threat actor is going to be like, you know what? I'm going to sell it to the sure bet. I'm going to get my $500,000 from Apple.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, from what I've heard, the problem is Apple's like, I'll give you a T-shirt or $100,000, whatever, for your Apple exploit.
Yep.
And then I'm like, well, I can sell it for $250,000 or $500,000 to like black market. Like, we need to. This is the whole debate that's happening right now in the industry. Like, where do I sell my exploit? If Apple ups their game, I'm going to go to Apple 100% of the time because I'm going to get my money. I'm not going to get my bit. Like, if I sell to some air quotes illegitimate source,
right?
I'm going to get my $1 million in Bitcoin or whatever that's based on the longevity of how long that threat actor can use that exploit, right? Like, I get $100,000 up front. The next month, I may get another $50,000 per month until that exploit is burned.
Or depending on...
And then I'm going to get it in Bitcoin, and I may or may not get that money. Whereas, I find that exploit day one, go to Apple. Apple's like, here's a check for $500,000, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a risk decision.
I want Apple to incentivize bug hunters to come to us first. Which means, overall, the bug bounties need to increase from the legitimate companies.
If you put it that way, you're going to get $100,000 and then continued payments for as long as they can use it, or $500,000 from Apple. Like, that's a risk decision. That's a pretty damn good game. I'm going to go to Apple for that.
I'm going to go to Apple. Right. That's what we need to incentivize.
Because you know what?
Apple, get my pay.
All as it takes is I sell it for $100,000. They use it. It gets discovered.
And it gets burned immediately.
It gets burned immediately and $100,000 versus...
But also, like...
It's a risk decision.
I don't know.
It's a risk decision.
Also, like, there's taxes. Like, did I take $500,000 from Apple? Or... did I take $100,000 in Bitcoin from this shady company?
Which, when you sell it, you're supposed to declare in the U.S. You're supposed to declare on your taxes.
You're supposed to there's.
It's a felony if you don't.
That's what I'm hearing. That's right now.
That's the problem. Yeah.
Right.
So it's a choice: taxes, immediate money, trust, risks.
Yeah.
But hey, there's always the gruck.
Yep. It's always twitchy. Whoa.
Oh,
well, you know
boy.
what? We're at time.
We're at time.
I really wanted to hear about the capsule endoscopy, but that's okay.
Oh, no.
I wanted to hear about
really quick. Dude, someone reverse engineered the smallest IoT device I have ever seen. And that is a capsule that you swallow that does the endoscopy / colonoscopy. Like, it takes telemetry as you swallow this pill. And a security researcher reverse engineered the hardware. It is literally the smallest IoT device I've ever seen.
Yep.
That is meant, you swallow it as a pill. Anyone that's done, we're old now. It's funny, we're old now. Most of us have done a colonoscopy prep, and it's awful.
The bottle says go lightly. You do anything but.
And if you don't have to do that, it's great. But the researcher was like, here's the stuff with the...
Yep. So I got some research from or got reached out to from a former coworker a couple of years ago when these were fairly new, that he had the opportunity to do this.
Yeah.
And he wasn't sure, but he researched the product first, and he's like, I'm doing this tomorrow. What should I buy to be able to capture all of the RF signals? This is what it looks like. I'm like, dude, you need a Hacker F, and you're not getting one of those tomorrow. Or Hacker F at a minimum, and you're not going to be able to get one of those tomorrow, type of deal. And
right.
It's like, damn it. So, yeah. This is why, like, thinking about some of this hacking sometimes requires a little bit of forethought.
Right.
Yeah. But
Larry, take us out.
Over and endoscopy. Out.